Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today, we continue our coverage of the ongoing civil war taking place inside of the former state of Ethiopia, and we're first going to start with an analysis of the ongoing Abiy loyalist operation against the Oromo Liberation Army. And first, it is becoming very apparent that the 4 to 5 week counteroffensive that was launched by Abiy loyalist forces in the direction towards Oromo Liberation Army formations that are encamped and continue to operate much to the north and northwest of Addis Ababa, also known as Finfinne, has failed. That fairly large operation was designed again to evict Oromo Liberation Army forces out of many towns and areas that the OLA both operated in and held. And that operation, again, in terms of the forces that were assembled by the Abiy loyalists, both federal police forces, actual Ethiopian National Defense Forces that were loyal to Abiy Ahmed, and then obviously those regional forces as well, have not done a very proficient job in terms of the operational goals and objectives that were initially launched about 4 to 5 weeks ago. In fact, we continue to hear about Oromo Liberation Army units moving even closer to Addis Ababa, the capital. It is our belief that the Oromo Liberation Army intends to eventually completely encircle and besiege Addis Ababa at a distance of roughly 20 miles from the city center. Right now, as we speak, we have seen OLA fighters operating anywhere from 30 to 40 miles west of Addis Ababa. We are also seeing OLA fighters to the north, and now we can confirm that OLA fighters in the south are now at a distance of about 20 miles in some cases. So we're starting to see this anaconda strategy being launched by the Oromo Liberation Army, much like the anaconda strategy that the Abiy loyalists, the Amhara region, the Eritrean army is maintaining or attempting to maintain against the Tigray region in the north. But it's what we're seeing right now is almost a reverse anaconda strategy with the OLA first clearly defeating this new offensive operation, this counter-offensive operation designed to degrade and destroy OLA capability to besiege Addis Ababa, but now we're also starting to see the OLA continuing a very, very slow but methodical advance within the environment of Addis Ababa. We also know that there have been a multitude of the ENDF units and Oromo regional units that were still loyal to Abiy Ahmed that have recently switched sides and are now operating with the Oromo Liberation Army. So we're watching this situation near Addis Ababa very, very closely. And in the not-too-distant future, could we eventually see an official name change? And could the capital at some point be renamed actually Finfinne for the global community if the OLA is finally successful in defeating Abiy loyalist forces and driving Abiy Ahmed from power, which is looking more and more likely, be it very, very slowly and methodically, but continues that progression down that path of an eventual OLA victory. Again, the ENDF, the Abiy loyalist formations, in this latest 4-week counteroffensive was really looking to be successful in pushing back the OLA, when in fact it would appear that the OLA has gotten even closer to Addis Ababa and continues to slowly but surely encircle Addis Ababa as well. In the north, with ongoing tensions facing the Tigray region and in the despotic regime of Eritrea, it would appear that the Eritrean Foreign Ministry and Ministry of Defense have articulated some concerns of a possible Tigrayan Defense Force operation against the state of Eritrea. Now, could this be a situation where the Isaias Afwerki government is looking for some sort of pretext to launch an operation against the Tigray region, or does the Eritrean state have a valid concern about the possibility of the massing of Tigrayan defense forces near the shared border between Tigray and Eritrea? And I would say it's probably more likely that we would see some sort of Tigrayan Defense Force operation in conjunction with a TDF move into Western Tigray than we would see an all-out renewed Eritrean invasion of northern Tigray. As I talked about in previous episodes, the Eritrean army was evicted from northern Tigray, and with a very foul taste in their mouth from its experience in operations against the Tigrayan Defense Forces in areas such as Adwa and Axum. We do know that in operations in which we observed Eritrean forces attempt to move from areas such as Adwa and Axum south towards the Tenbian region, those forces of the Eritrean army took significant casualties in those operations, and that led to the eventual counteroffensive by Tigrayan Defense Forces, and even the capture of some fairly high-ranking maneuver elements of the Eritrean army, and fairly significant casualties on the part of the Eritrean military as well. So the likelihood that we would see a renewed operation from a unsuccessful operation, obviously, that the Eritrean army met with in terms of its failed occupation of northern Tigray, the likelihood that we would see a renewed Eritrean operation into Tigray, we would say at this point, at least on a massive scale, designed with the same sort of motive that we saw in the past invasion of Tigray, is fairly remote. We do not believe at this point that Eritrean capability is as such that they would have the capability of mounting such an operation. But on the other hand, we do see now that the TDF being fully mobilized, the possibility of an incursion into Eritrea by the Tigrayan Defense Forces is probably increasing, depending on if tensions continue to increase as well. And as we have talked about before, some in terms of longer-term strategy, it's probably in the best interest of the Tigray region to eventually to overthrow Isaias Afwerki. Isaias Afwerki is not getting any younger, and we believe at this point the Eritrean regime is probably more fragile now than it's been in years past. And the possibility that we could see regime change in Eritrea is not outside the realm of possibility. And I think at this point, that is what is concerning the Eritrean state at this point. But we will continue to watch the situation very, very closely. We're watching what is happening in Western Tigray as well. And we could start to see, as we talked about before, that movement of Tigrayan Defense Forces into Western Tigray. Obviously, we have seen the departure of Amhara regional forces. We have seen the departure of even Eritrean forces from Western Tigray. And is that in preparation for an eventual takeover of Western Tigray by Tigrayan Defense Forces? That will have to be seen in terms of the near future. And we will continue to watch the situation very, very closely and obviously report once we receive additional information. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.